Good afternoon, Europe. Good evening in Bangkok. I'm really happy to welcome you all to this second daylight talk with Boonserm Premthada. We're really happy that you want to share your marvelous project with us today. The talk will be presented by Jana Revedin from the École Spéciale d'Architecture in Paris. Jana is an architect, a theorist, and a writer, and professor of architecture and urban planning at the school. She is also a UNESCO delegate to the Education and Research Commission at the International Union of Architects, and she has created a very prestigious global award for sustainable architecture. She has been delivering keynotes all over the world, and she has been very, very productive with writing books. And I'm very happy to welcome you in Paris, Jana. Please, the word is yours.
So welcome to this Velux Daylight Talks, this time happening in my school in Paris. I am in École Spéciale, the eldest school in France, founded in 1865. You see the courtyard and the garden and the building as it is still today in a picture of the 1870s. We are the unique private school in France. We give you a diploma in architecture and urbanism after 5 years. It's quite organized and very small and very private school. And we work in a campus together in partnership with the design school École Commando and the Fondation Cartier, which are just beside us and in front of the street of Boulevard Raspail in the middle center of Paris. My school called me after a long series of professorships in Germany and Italy and Sweden in the Nordic, let's say, countries, after knowing that my theory and pedagogy and research was leading over the last 150 years from reformatory Bauhaus movement to sustainability. The inventions of the Bauhaus, urban ecology and interdisciplinary learning and social empowerment are the leading red line through my teaching and my research and my writing work. And the keywords, you see them. This is what I do with my first year and last year diploma students, and of course with my doctoral students that then follow up in research and in a career of double professional and a research career in their lifetime. You see the two websites. You can have more further information. On the side of my teaching and research and as a professionalist in architecture, in 2006, I had quite a foolish idea to put together, as the Bauhaus did 100 years earlier, a group of architects and urbanists and landscapers and theorists and thinkers who wish to do an architecture differently, a new architecture and urbanism ethics that will work in a holistic way, in an interdisciplinary way, to refound criteria to create living space on a human scale and with, of course, a civic responsibility. Up to now, in 2021, we have 70 contemporary architects who are building the Global Award for Sustainable Architecture community worldwide. We don't only think together and I make them know 5 architects every year in Paris are laureate and get together and exchange, but we make them also plan and project together, and we make them write together, which is important to form an old new ethics in a sustainable way of creating our livable surroundings. The Global Award, since its beginning, is put under the patronage of UNESCO and is run by the Cité de l'Architecture et Patrimoine, the biggest architecture museum in Europe. Every year, I try to mix between the 5 laureates, big pioneers like Krishna Doshi, Thomas Herzog, Jan Gehl, or for example, of course, also Krishna Doshi from India, Christopher Alexander from the States, but also young talents who are unknown by now, and you will have one of them in the talk of today, Boonserm Premthada, but also Alexandro Aravena or Wang Shu or Francis Queret. Those are young talents that we have to show to the world and that can exchange with big pioneers, exchange their forces, their experience, and also give themselves a sense of hope that we as architects can be a little part of changing the world of today and tomorrow. This was by chance that Boonserm Premthada, who will give the talk today, and I'm looking much forward, was in the 2018 laureates, a group of 5 excellent colleagues. And since today, we know that the Pritzker Prize 2021 went to Aga Khan and Jean-Philippe Vassal. Here we are on the floor of the Global Awards 2018, giving the prize also to Aga Khan and Jean-Philippe Vassal, between others. And Boonserm is hiding humbly, as he is, behind the president of the Cité de l'Architecture. Next. But now in the group photo, he cannot hide anymore. Here he is, and you will see him later on in his talk. Thank you, Boonserm, for having accepted to be with us on the Velux Daylight Talk today. This is what we do. We public not only the process of producing and of doing and of thinking another way of doing architecture in books every year that take together the 5 laureates, together with my architecture critic colleague Marie-Hélène Cantal, but I also, as a theorist, write together with them. And these are books that are very simple, very light, they cost very few. And the students of today, they have a little choice of 10 or 12 or 15 of my colleagues, and we think about certain urgent topics of today. And beyond that, Boonserm, of course, is one of my brothers in thought when he says that the physical creation of an atmosphere is to heighten the awareness of our natural surroundings, light, shadow, wind, sound, smell. He works on the 5 senses that the mankind has developed. And of course, this is exactly the topic of my first year atelier that I lead on École Spéciale. My students are all with us listening to Boonserm, and we greet you. This course is called the Ergonomics of the Human Soul, and we exactly speak on parts of this individual but also collective memory. We start, of course, with great authors like the psychology of Carl Gustav Jung, and then we develop through Umberto Eco or Aldo Rossi or Johanni Pallasmaa all what is about having an architecture at the measure of the human being, and that the measure and the intensity of our 5 human senses. We know that Boonserm, to present him shortly, is already an assistant teacher, but he is also the founder of his own architecture practice in Bangkok. Before, regarding being chosen to be the laureate of the Global Award of Sustainable Architecture 3 years ago, he already was selected in the pre-selection of the Aga Khan Awards. This is how I got knowledge about his exceptional work. And the year after the Global Awards, he was also delivered the Dorfman Award, the Royal Academy Dorfman Award. So he will be followed by the eye of the worldwide critique. We are looking much forward to his talk. And next year, we will have the pleasure to not only write with him, research with him, and also lecture with him, but I will have the great pleasure to be the curator of the first international exposition of architecture and landscape in Versailles, financed by the Île-de-France, the Greater Paris. And in this occasion, I have the plan to invite 3 major talents of our times. Between them, for the Americas, Rosanna Montiel. She will expose an intervention about the right to the city. Asia, Boonserm Premthada, that we have here with us today. He will expose an intervention, one-to-one scale, architecture as a political catalyst. and from the Orient, Kamash, architecture for universal synergy. So thank you, Boonserm. Thank you, of course, Per, for the invitation, and Boonserm for accepting and giving us your time and your beautiful work. And I know there are 3 of new works that you have never presented before. So we are honored to see them in world first premiere. And be aware when you listen to Boonserm, we are talking about the 5 senses, that he is one who is missing one of our 5 senses. And despite of this handicap, is elaborating and presenting you a unique quality of architectural work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and Professor Jana, to introduce me. Thank you, and Arno Anderson and Vilak to invite me to have to and talking about my work and talking about my idea. This is my storytelling. It's about architecture and the art, because it's, my work is in between. It's about architecture and the art. And okay, it's a the Bangkok project studio is we start in 2003, and we work with the very small studio, and our work is related to and about the atmosphere and the sense of the architecture that is related to about and make it for the social life of the people and the every species in the world and nature also. I think it's it's my work is we would like to to share with everything is my idea. I believe that, and we all share the same sun. No matter where we are in this world, we are living together with the nature, with other species also. So we would like to talking about it. My architecture is the question is about how the human and the nature and other living species live together. And the first project is the Kantana Film School and in Nakhon Pathom province. It's outside of the Bangkok. It's completed in 2011. And the project is talking about the sense of the human. Most people use only one sense. Is used the eye to see everything. But for me, I think about how to use all sense of the human to perception, to to know about everything in the architecture or the place. It's light and the seeing, light and the smell, light and the taste, light and temperature and the spiritual. And so the architecture is, I would like to design this architecture to allow us to orient ourselves in a relation to the nature. And I make it light and foliage, but it looks like the inserted foliage embracing the nature. It's the nature and the quality of being human. And this place, it's like we would like to make the film school like the student to learn the sense of the human along with the process is the film study. And all facilities are hidden inside the wall. And the wall is channeled with wind and nature, the sunlight into the building. It's like the human living in the wall, not only the human, but with the air, the wind, the light is also that is living in the void of the wall, and make it the place. It's like look like it's the pathway, and the pathway is not only the path or for the walking, but it's a place for the meditation. It's like the place. With the role of the light and the shadow in architecture, it tells us the story about and the place. It light in the place, it light on the floor, with the wall. It is and when the sunlight is touched on the wall, you see it light and the shadow. And the light and the shadow, the light and the shadow. Make it something light and it's math, it's a solid architecture, and make the something like it the small hole and undulating wall. It make it we got with the shadow. So and it when we the time it change. So and you will see like that something is like the moth is set on the wall. The wall it become in the green in the rainy season, and then in the summer season and the wall it become too red. It is in the wall with for all season. This is my building. It should not be designed just for an human, but it also for the nature to live in there. It light and the dimness. It light is the darkness. It light is the brightness. The brightness is unveil the truth, but the dimness is the source of imagination. It's like in the brick. We use in the brick. The brick is basic material. It's everyday material that with our culture is very familiar to build and the building. We make it the brick, it piece by piece, made by hand, step by foot, and cut piece by piece. It is the life of the local people who make it the brick in the factory. It's a small village, understand about and the big, make it step by step. It makes it understand about the nature of the brick, understand about the gravity of the brick when we build it. Being the brick and combined with the steel. It is technology is combined with a craftsman. It is a craftsmanship technology. The brick is tree, the sunlight and the darkness and the sound and air and the man are the anatomy of the institute. They are in the whole body of the simple construction. In this project, I designed the atmosphere, not an architecture. The atmosphere and the nature teach us how to become a human. No one would be able to study art before the learning to be a human. And the second project is situated in the Ayutthaya, Thailand. It's outside of the Bangkok for the 1 hour. It is the place for the white pavilion and the artisan restaurant. The white pavilion is set up in 2017, and the artisan is just finished and it's complete in 2021. And the site is located in the place is like a small town or small village that far from World Heritage Ayutthaya. Ayutthaya is the oldest capital of the Thailand 400 years ago, and this place is like in the middle of nowhere in Ayutthaya. It's about 13 kilometers. It's far from the World Heritage Site. This place is like a forgotten area. The site is situated along the Chao Phraya River, is the main river of the Thailand. It is and the close up about and the site is situated it among with the village with the small house with the old small house in Thailand with light and the wooden house. This project is talking about a local story, a local community, and the local economy. It's like and the white pavilion that we call it the rural bar. In the past, it's 400 years ago, and Monsieur de RIBA, who is an ambassador from France, it's come to Thailand, and he have to sum the record about and the why. This is and the first why come to Thailand. So and the why it have to take time. We produce the why, we have to take time also. So this is and my first sketch is talking about and the impression of and the why of and the place. How to make it the place. It's like and the time we spend the time in the place. This is and the sketch is talking about and how to make the small space. It can move with the people. Make a place it's like an emotion. Make a place it's like and valuable experience. It's made in a limited space. It's like it very, very small. It's like and make it a 5-spiral staircase. For it make it space, its spacious space, it become to a place. This is another section is talking about and the spiral staircase. And this is and the staircase is the 5-spiral staircase. I make it and the staircase is like it's various shape. The 5 staircase it go and up and down to and the platform. The platform is above it separated in an individual. We have to spend a time in the place by and go up and down to the spiral staircase. It is and make the distance in the small place. I respect the time. It look like and we staying in Ayutthaya with an experience of the living for the 2 different times, the ancient and the present. It's like and when I use the material, I think about and how to use and temporality of the material. Like and the PVC sheet and like and the plywood. The PVC sheet is unlike and the glass because it and the PVC sheet it's like it we have to movement. It's like and undulating and you have to reflecting and it can transparent and the light come to the inside. But the plywood it's very soft wood. It's a lighter material, and I bring it to material. It complies become to and the building. It looks like a temporary building. It gives me to like and the experience is and the house is allowed there. It's made by and the wood. This is and when you look up and the ceiling and the structure is made from like a waffle structure. It's like and a knockdown structure. You will see and the bowl. You will see and the knot with that it complies with and the plywood. It complies with become to a beam, become to a wall, become to a ceiling. For me, it's like and the human it cannot travel back in time. It is an atmosphere of the space that it created the memory. It is the architecture that makes a forgotten place memorable. Another project is close to the White Pavilion. We just finished it right now, and so this is the first time that I published this project to the lecture only for this event. This is we call the artisan or a woman restaurant. This is the cooker of the restaurant. This is a very old lady. It's about 90-year-old, and we have to 5 lady who is cooking the food for visitor who come to and visited in this village. The restaurant is like it's made from the food that is come from the originality or authentic food of the place. We have the 5 buildings. Each building we have the name of the cooker, like the old lady. It's like Grandma Khan Thong, Grandma Ngiam, Grandma Yi, Grandma Ri, Grandma Tan. This is the name of the building with, and we want to respect to the cooker. This is the food. It's for it's like forgotten food. It's forgotten this because this food we forgot it a long time. So we want to bring back in to the food to become to contemporary food. Or we use handmade pot that best for this restaurant. It's like the building. It's like used the glass box. It is an industrial material, and combined with the wood, it is a natural material. When the glass box and the wood join together, it makes it something like the atmosphere. It's like the transparent. It's like the space. It's for light and material space. It's for me. The space is inside. It makes it the people to come to enjoy and the light and the reflection from light. The glass box, it makes it the light. It look like the crystal. This is the elevation of the glass box that is, and we make it the glass box, and the wood. The wood it look like the mortar, but it's a big mortar. First of all, we try to experiment about the glass box. We understand about the glass box. We understand about the wood, and then we make it the wood and the glass box combined together. It becomes to the building, make it like in the daytime, we steal the light from the outside to inside. At night, the building it look like the lantern. It light up the space. The light is not about the daylight, the sunlight, or the artificial light, but the light it means making the local people to have to hope for light. And this old lady, she has uneducated. She don't know about how to read, how to write it. This is the first time to try to write some lettering. It means thank you for the guests who come to this restaurant. The light it comes from the inside of the human. Another project we would like to talking about something is not the human. It related about the animal. very, very big animal. In Thailand, the elephant is like the symbol of an animal in our country. In this project, we would like to talking about non-human center. Most of all, we always we think about human center. Everything we think about human. When we do, we think about the human. For me, I think about this project. We would like to focus with something. It's not about the human. It's about the other species. Most architecture is created for the human. The Elephant Fur project is take a non-human center. It's situated in the Surin province, Thailand. It's like at the northeastern of Thailand. It's very far from the Bangkok. It's about 8 hours. The elephant and the human live together in the one house. It's long time ago. It's 400 years ago. They lived together in this place. One day, the forest was destroyed by the human. They have no water. They have no tree. The elephant and the keeper have to move to go to a tourist city for beg the money. And then they sick and die. We want to make it, this project, the elephant world, is for and to like to preserve them, the elephant. Bring the elephant back home. My project, it have the 3 facility. It's a cultural courtyard, it's a big observation tower, it's an elephant museum. This is under the life of an elephant. It's like under water. We study about the elephant that they like to take a bath in the pond. We study about the scent of the elephant. It look like the eyesight. If you see in this picture, the elephant it not look like the human, because we have to binocular. It's like the angle is different from the human, because then his eye is very small, but his head is very big. So in the left eye, they can see it look like the green color, and the right eye, he see it like the red color. But when we combine the eye together, we see it like the gray. This is very special to understand it. When the elephant walking, it is different. They walk like the cross, and for the first every step that we walk in. With the size of the elephant, the height of elephant is very big. And the terrain of the places, the earth, the pond, is like the living of the local. We call it, this place is the Kui people. It's the Kui village. It means it's local people who take care of the elephant. We study about the home. The home is very unique because the elephant and the human, they live together in the same room, only the one room. Sometimes when we have 2 more elephants, so we have to make it a roof for only the elephant in the same area, in the area of the house. This is the Kui house. Sometimes the elephant it want to live in like under the tree also. Or this is one. The elephant sometimes they live in the elephant house. The elephant house is like that, only one column and the gable roof. It's easy to when the elephant is moved around there. When the sunlight is touched on the roof, so and the elephant can live in under the shadow also. So sometimes you want with the sunlight, you go out to and the shadow it to and the outdoor. That's my idea. Is want to make and the first building is cultural courtyard. It and with the function it for recreation and cultural event and religious ceremony. It's a big scale. The size is about 7 meters by 100 meters. It's the big scale is for not the human, but it's for the elephant and for the nature. The scale when we compare with the elephant and the cultural courtyard is like the harmonious, the scale. And the big roof and the thick roof is made for and light and to protect the sunlight, to protect the heat transfer from the outside to inside, and make it light and the bench is for and the visitor to come to join and to see it the lifestyle of an elephant. Or to another view is like and the roof is made from the structure inside is steel, but it and we make it like an natural local wood it for the ceiling. Sometimes the elephant come to inside. The idea we want to make like and being the nature, it become to an architecture. We dig the soil to berm, it become to the theater. When it's and the soil was digged, the water is come. So this is and we got the two architecture. The one is the theater, and another one is the water for the elephant. Another building is the museum. The museum is talking about the life of the elephant and the Kui people. We're talking about the happiness. We're talking about the sadness. We're talking about the struggle of life. We're talking about an history of the Kui and the elephant that we live together. It's related to the nature. The idea of and the exhibition. The exhibition is the outside, it's on the wall, but the inside is for and the visitor to come to and see the outside. We use and the sunlight that touch on the wall that it tell about the story of and the outside. This is the story. And some place we make it the pond when the elephant can come into the museum, they can drink the water. The elephant live not only the soil, but the water also. The place in the pathway that the pathway is not for the human. If you see that, you will see light and the human scale is very, very small. In fact, it's light and make it the curve wall. The curve wall is talking about the voice. The low wall and the high wall is make it the sound is different. I want to make it the something it like it the voice of the people, like and the Kui, who accused by the outsider. They think the Kui people is bring the elephant to work. They think they bring The good people bring the elephant to forced labor, but in fact, it's not it. The elephant is our family. It looks like the children. It looks like the father. It looks like the brother. It's not the forced labor. Sometimes we come to inside, we find the elephant. This is a place for an unexpected moment. The shadow is on the wall. It makes it a curve. It's like in a real curve from the big, and the curve is from the shadow. This is a feeling of the place. We bring the soil to make the brick, the tile, the stadium, the theater. This is the brick. We use the labor worker. It use the labor. It makes the brick one by one and comprise the brick. It becomes to a building. The architecture is not only about make the people it come to and have the building, but it makes it occupation. It makes and the hope. It makes it the people to have the opportunity. It makes and better economic in this area. For the big observation tower, it is at one of the tower in this area. It's a high building. It's for and visitor could come to this building and see the elephant on the cloud and see it like the elephant. It's like and the skeleton. When you come to inside, we will see light and the play. It look like and most tower when we decided, we think about and how to bring the people up to the top. It's very, very far. But for this building, I don't want to rush the people or the visitor to come to the top. I want to everyone to spend the time to see the view, the every floor. Each floor is different atmosphere. It depends on and the whole. It depends on and the gap. It depends on and the position of and the staircase. This is an elevation. This is on the floor, and this is on the staircase. Every design we think about how to use the wind to ventilation and how to understand about the light it touch on and the shape it look like and the water drop and light and the floor you have to gap to the small gap that with the air come to and on the floor and flow to the building. The elephant and the people and the atmosphere of the inside and the people can join on the top. Not only it make it the architecture, we want to make it the tree by dropping the seed that when you come to on the top, we can throw the seed and light and make it something for and the foliage. We want to make it a new tree. We want to revival the foliage come. For my architecture, I only design it 50%. It remains 50% is designed by the nature. It's not me. This architecture, it performs the three functions. To preserve the culture, the revival the forest, and build a self-sustained community. It is under the bird's eye view. When it's under the COVID-19 pandemic, we bring an elephant to come back to the hometown. This project is like a home for the elephant who come back from tourist city. We want to change something. It's like the hook that we control the elephant. It's now the people want to change the hook. It becomes too selfistic. They enjoy life. The humanity is not just about the human relationship. We adapt our humanity to our relationship with other living creatures on the planet. The respect and contempt. We show to what the animal reflect the value of us as a human race. And another project that we would like to talking about and the latest work that it will and present in the Venice Architecture Biennale in 2021. This project is like the project that is continue to an elephant world, but it's a new project for me. This is a national Thai pavilion. We think about the elephant and the human will live together. It's like we have to, you see it, this picture, it is the life, then elephant, they live in the roof. Sometimes he's hungry. He try to steal the banana from the human. My first get is one to express something about the human house. It's very road, and only the one column it means like the elephant house. They put inside together. We plan to make this pavilion to set up in the Arsenale in the Venice Architecture Biennale. And we build for and prepare for and set up and practice it sent to the Venice. Unfortunately, because it's a COVID-19 pandemic, we cannot send it with logistic plan. So this project is very struggle. But I think it's the abstract is mean the opportunity. So I will try to another way to find a new location for our pavilion. I want to make it something like the twin version of the pavilion was built in Thailand also. We try to decide and we decide to make it the pavilion. Bring the pavilion it back to home, it is a good home and a good village. But we put this one for the center, it's like at the heart of the village. We call the temple, it's the Wat Pa Ajiang temple. It's near an elephant world. The principal monk is make it ceremony. It's for the cloud baking. It's for we have to people to come to join. And the pavilion, when the pavilion is set up, we make it the ceremony. It's for like celebrated and the pavilion. It come back to the hometown. It's like the elephant. The young elephant It's not only the human, but the young elephant, it comes to join the ceremony also. It's made by the people, the good people. It's made by the labor. It's made by our heart, our spiritual. And the elephant house and the good house, it live together. It's a place. It's for and the village people. It's for the make the activity. Next is the roof. It's not for a special roof. It makes the roof with more thicker and use and various of the pattern of and the thin roof. It become to light and make it the gap to and reduce the heat transform to the outside. The kid, the girl, it enjoy it very small space. Every joy, every bowl, every piece, it join together. The column of the elephant and the beam of the roof form a human house, it join together. And the elephant for the space is the high roof. And the people will come to live to under the same roof. The texture of the wood. Not only the how will we live together. And I would like to ask that, how can we learn from each other in a parallel world? The Venice, Italy, and the Surin, Thailand. Architecture of the survival. This is our life of the good people, and between the elephant and the human. Our spiritual is the rawness, imperfection, it's surprise. A perfect life is the life that is adapted to imperfection. For me, local is the future. Every stone it is not the time to build an architecture. It's time for everyone. We need a home. We need the respect and humbleness, equality. The twins have taught me that we can still live together no matter how far away we are. This is the storytelling is about the sense of the human. Sometimes I think about everything that the human think about is so far. But for me, think about everything is when I decided. I usually think about the reading, the everything. We go back and we think it's very important for us because when we think that it means we have to go back to study. We have to before we go to forward. you know that sometimes it's and the people always think about and advance and go forward and make the everything with some light and future. It means the happiness. And for me, I think it when we stay in the present, we stay in the real time. It means happiness for me. Sometimes if you see as a project, it's not only and the human who change the city or who change the world. Sometimes you have to other species you can change the world. It's like the elephant. They change the city. They bring hope and pie to the human. Thank you so much.
Mr. Leo, we have some questions from the audience.
Yes.
Can you please read them to Mr. Boonserm?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, we were having some technical problems, but we fix it now.
Okay.
So my question to Boonserm is: when you graduated, were you tempted to live and practice abroad in a famous office? And if not, why did you decide to open your own office in your home country?
I never studied on the board. I studied it only in local university in Thailand. So and I met with with the one of the start in the office with not very much too much, but with with the medium office. So and I think when we decided the architecture, we think it and you know, in Thailand you have to study in the university. It like it makes it a pattern. It's like and the format. It from the outside. It's like and European. It's like and North America. It's so and for me, I think it have to not only way to solve the problem to find an architectural way, but for me, I think it have to another way to decide it. I decide to open it my small studio and to find it and one way. Our interesting is about the architecture can improve the life of and people. So and it's the main purpose of and our studio to like and to make something like a different way. Yeah.
So the next question: I'm an architect practicing in the US, but I'm torn between my desire to go back to my home country with its technological imitation and the desire to stay in the West. Any advice for me?
I that if you and you go back to hometown, it's very good for the architecture thinking, because it and like you know when you study a lot in on board that is very good. But when like me, when we think about and every place, it's like the local place, so we think about and to understand and respect it, the local. Respect is the place that is very important for me. I think it and when you go to your hometown, at first you have to respect your town.
So the next question: how do you get information about designing with light? Is there a good book or an architect you admire? My question is how to be a better architect and design with atmosphere and light.
I never studied the lighting design in the university. I make it lighting design is for our sense. It's like, and the daylight is very it's free. It's very nature. But it's the daylight is our country. It's different from the Europe. The daylight it mean very hot. But in our culture, we think about the light is a living thing. The what same is the water, is the everything is a living thing. So it our culture is respect them, and when we use it the light, we think about and how to use the light it for for not only the function, it's for the spiritual also.
The next question. The stadium looks fantastic, but what do you think about the accessibility? I find that it might be difficult for older people and people with disabilities to move around or get to the seats.
Yes, and we have to the place it for disability, it for light and cloud, with the cloud for that is not shown in your picture. But we have the place it for it's like you see the football stadium. It's like the handicapped people. It's like the wheelchair to come to and sit in front of the stadium also. But in fact, it is not the stadium, it's cultural courtyard. I insist.
Oh, we've got more questions. Okay, so in your first project, how the transition of the seasons is understood on the bricks?
Because of the brick is made from the soil. Where is the tree come from? The tree it come from the soil. So and when we use the brick is made with the water or the rain. It's a long time. When sometimes we have no sunlight on the wall. If you see in this picture, in some place it's like under the shadow, the shade. So this area we have to the green color. It's like the moss. It's set on this. So when we see it like the building that made from the brick in the past, we will see like the moss that set up on the wall also. This is my common sense when we use the brick, and the brick is a living thing also. It same the light.
So the next one. Okay, that was an amazing lecture. Thanks for sharing. What if one's hometown is a young metropolitan city with hardly any history or local artisans? What else can inform design?
You mean the light and the live in the metropolitan city, like it's very hard to form the local, like it's light and the metropolitan city. You mean light and metropolitan it have no culture, like
เขาบอกว่าเมืองที่เขาอยู่มันไม่มีประวัติศาสตร์อะไรที่จะ
okay
เอามา
okay
ดีไซน์ดี
okay you mean it's like and you have no history, right, or something. Okay, no problem. If you don't have the history, you can write a new history, because it's a history. It doesn't mean it's the past. For me, it's like an history you can write now. make your history now. I don't know it, but I think if I live there something, if the place is like nothing, so it's very good for and we start to the history.
Okay, so this one says, thank you for your lecture and your beautiful buildings. Could you say something about the climate in which you work? For example, the diurnal and seasonal temperature range and the solar geometry.
In Thailand, we have the 3 seasons, and the summertime, and like the rainy time, and the winter time. But now we have the almost only 2 seasons, rainy season and the summer season. But in fact, our country is hot all year. So, and in this project, it's like, and the temperature is around and 40 degrees Celsius. It's very hot for and the people who live on the outside. So, and that's why we use the light for the something. But the another part is we need the shadow because it's under high temperature.
Next one says, I love that I can sense the soul in every design you've made. I wonder who is your favorite architect? Thank you for the beautiful poetic talk.
Thank you so much. But you asked me about the favorite architect. I don't know it. I learned from and everything from light and the cool people. I learned from the how from and the cool people who is and a non-architect. I interesting about the non-architecture who made by the non-architect, that is and like because they are very pureness, they are very honesty, they make everything for necessary, made it for the important thing if you want to use it. So, and this is very common sense for and the people. If you see my work, it's about and the common sense that the people can perception. I think not only me, but every architect can do that.
So this one says, how do you address social integration issue faced in many Western countries due to global immigrations? How can architecture that addresses the census help close this gap and nudge the behavior to increase cultural exchange? ในประเทศต่างประเทศนะครับมันจะมีเรื่องของการย้ายถิ่นฐานมีเรื่องของ immigration อะไรพวกนี้ครับใน West Country ในประเทศตะวันตกนะครับเราจะใช้บทบาทของสถาปัตยกรรมมาแก้ปัญหานี้ได้
You know, it's like very good question, but I think an architecture is not save, not only way to save the world, you know. This is an architecture is that only the one part to can, it's like the communication. It communicate to the human, communicate to the situation. It's not about an architecture cannot save the world for me. I think it, but the architecture can make the people to understand and reflect to the social situation. This and if you see it, the money work in the world, sometimes some architects try to help there's some problem. That is for me, I think it's very good. So.
Thank you so much, Boonserm Premthada. It has
Thank
been
you.
an amazing lecture. Thanks for sharing your amazing thoughts and ideas and reflections and these very amazing projects. We really enjoyed your lecture. This lecture has been recorded, and you can find it on our website shortly after this day. And please know that there will be a next talk taking place on the 29th of April, where we will present the Hema Fasch from Fasch and Fuchs from Vienna. The office is working with sophisticated constructions and really subtle use of daylight. That's really what characterizes the works of this amazing office. So please come back and join us for the next talk in April, and we'll soon also announce our talk in May. Thank you so much for today. It has really been a pleasure. Thank you, Jana Revedin, for presenting Boonserm Premthada. And Boonserm, please, it was really amazing to hear your lecture today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.